everyone! Today we're going to be talking about 5 things to avoid in your uncontested divorce. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Max Truthenberg Marshall, and I founded Porchlight to help people have a better, more positive divorce experience. So before we dive into the 5 things that we need to avoid in an uncontested divorce, let's talk about what an uncontested divorce is. An uncontested divorce is when you and your spouse agree to all the terms of your divorce, sign off on all the details in writing, and do all of that before you file your case. Then it goes through the court process and just gets signed by the judge. So an uncontested divorce is pretty desirable. It is a lot less hostile and contentious than a contested divorce. It takes less time, it takes less money. There are a lot of benefits. So you want to have an uncontested divorce if it's possible to have one with your spouse. But if you and your spouse have discussed having an uncontested divorce, there are some things that you want to avoid to make sure that you don't ruin that opportunity to have an uncontested divorce. The first thing that you want to avoid during an uncontested divorce is dating during divorce. This actually goes for all divorce cases. Dating another person before your divorce is completed is never going to help the situation. It can only breed resentment and hostility. The good thing about an uncontested divorce is that the process is relatively short compared to a contested divorce. So if you do feel that you're ready to move on and start dating again, you won't have to wait as long with an uncontested divorce. Another reason to wait until the ink is dry on your divorce decree to start dating is that if you've been in your marriage for a long time, you probably need a little bit of time to yourself to adjust to your new future and just spend quality time with yourself processing the transition from that relationship to your next step in life. The second thing to avoid during an uncontested divorce is excessive use of social media. If I thought I could get you to quit social media completely, I'd tell you to do that. But I'm a realist. So let me just say, use social media judiciously while you're going through your divorce. Specifically, don't post anything about your divorce, even something vague and ambiguous that could or could not be interpreted to relating to your divorce. Just don't post it. The thing is that soon-to-be exes do tend to check out each other's social media, and you don't want to put something up there that could cause hurt feelings or resentment and destroy your uncontested divorce and turn it into a contested divorce. The third thing to avoid in an uncontested divorce is forgetting to plan for your future. Your divorce handles what's going to happen between you and your spouse, specifically in regards to division of assets, debts, and whether or not there will be alimony. If you have children, it dictates what the custody and parenting time schedule would be and what child support will be. But those are issues between you and your spouse, not just issues for yourself. And you're starting a new future after your divorce. So you want to make sure that that future is going to be successful. One thing you definitely want to think about for your future is health insurance. A lot of people just don't realize until the divorce is almost over that, oh my goodness, they're not going to be on their spouse's health insurance anymore and they're going to have to get their own insurance. There are options out there, but some of them are a lot better than others, and it's not something you want to be scrambling for at the last minute. So go ahead and research it while your divorce process is still going on. The second part of planning for your future is to pay attention to your financial situation. In a lot of marriages, one person has been really active and involved in managing the finances, and the other person has taken a back seat, so they don't know as much about what's going on with the finances. You want to make sure that you're educated enough to handle your own finances and investments competently, and often that means seeking outside advice from someone like a financial advisor so that you can make sure your individual financial future is secure after your divorce. The third element about planning for your future is making sure that you have the right job or career for the next stage of your life. This could be for financial reasons. Obviously, your financial situation is going to change post-divorce. So if you feel you need more income, you may need to look into a promotion or getting training in a different field so that you can move fields. But it's also going to have to do with your schedule, particularly if you have children involved. The schedule that you were working before might not work well with what your parenting time schedule is going to be going forward. So just remember, not only do you and your spouse need to agree as to what's going to happen in the divorce, you also need to plan individually for your future. The fourth thing to avoid during an uncontested divorce is bad-mouthing your ex to your kids. This usually isn't the biggest problem in uncontested divorces. People who are able to get along enough to have an uncontested divorce generally try and be decent to each other, but decent isn't always the standard that we want to rise to, particularly when there are children involved. Generally, you could be very respectful and speak kindly of your ex, but kids are pretty attuned to what's going on with an adult. So even an occasional under your breath snarky comment can really have an impact on the children. And remember that the divorce is a transition for the children too, not just for you and your spouse. So you want to make that as easy for them as possible. But if you're saying negative things about your parent, or even if they just get the vibe that you don't like the other parent, then that's going to be harder for the children. So while you definitely want to try and avoid saying bad things about your co-parent to your children, you also, if you can, want to make sure to say some good things about the other parent so the children can still see the mutual respect there. So that can be fun things that they do when they have time with the other parent, or positive characteristics that they've inherited from the other parent. Whatever positive sign you can show your kids that you and the co-parent get along, that'll help your kids through the process. The fifth thing you want to avoid in an uncontested divorce is negotiating on principle. In an uncontested divorce, you and your spouse are working out the terms amongst yourselves. You're not getting lawyers involved at that stage of the process. You're getting lawyers involved later to guide it through the court system, draft up the paperwork, handle all of that. But in terms of what you and your spouse are going to agree to, you are the ones deciding on that. Divorce is an extremely emotional experience, and sometimes if we feel we've been wronged or hurt by someone, we want to stand our ground and stand up for ourselves and insist on something just because of the principle of it, even if it's something that we don't really need or want to have a successful future going forward. I'm going to strongly recommend that you don't stand on principle, because it's almost a guaranteed way to destroy your uncontested divorce and make it a contested divorce. Look at what you realistically need to be healthy, happy, and whole going forward after your divorce, and negotiate for that. Don't negotiate for something that you don't even want just because you feel your spouse has wronged you in some way. I hope that these 5 things to avoid have helped you understand how you can keep the process more amicable and have an uncontested divorce. If you need help with your uncontested divorce, Porchlight strives to work with all our clients and make their cases a more positive and productive experience and keep things as amicable as possible between the parties. When you're ready, we're here to help.